The new Dowdun Reach gameplay trailer just dropped, and there's a lot of hidden things inside here that nobody's talking about. Let's dive in. All right, so this thing right here, this thing on the left-hand side is not in the game whatsoever. You might assume that this is a backpack or a storage, inventory expansion slot, right? Basically what we've seen in other survival crafting games. Well, that, my friend, is not the case. This is actually an item from old school RuneScape called Ava's Accumulator. Ava's Accumulator is equipped in the cape slot, and it can pick up a player's ranged ammunition after they fire it. And every 3.5 minutes, it will attract an assortment of metal ammunition. The accumulator gives the 4th best range attack bonus for the cape slot. Now, this is how the item works in old school RuneScape, and obviously Dragonwilds is nowhere near the exact same game, so it might actually be tweaked, the item a little bit here and there when it comes to the abilities and what it offers, but it is very cool to see the item cross over from old school RuneScape to here in Dragonwilds. All right, this guy right here is another one, okay? This goblin is clearly holding a fishing pole, right? And basically, prior to Dowdun Reach coming out on the 23rd, Jagex have went live and basically talked about how the fishing mechanic is not up to snuff, right? It's not going to be ready for the official launch of Dowdun like they had hoped it would be. They're still ironing a few things out, and therefore their hope is to potentially bring in the fishing skill as one of the minor updates between Dowdun and the next region expansion. However, why is the goblin in the game and have a fishing pole? A couple of theories I could come up with besides just piquing my curiosity is, one, they might just simply be teasing, that fishing is still coming to the game, and because they didn't make it here for the launch of Dowdun, they kind of just threw this in here as like a fun little, tease or like little poke at the idea of not having the fishing ready. Or maybe the second option is the fishing mechanic is ready, and maybe we're gonna all be surprised, because if you know anything about Jagex, they do like to do shadow drops or surprise drops, and on top of obviously Ava's Accumulator, maybe they do have the fishing skill ready, and you just got to do some sort of quest or catch this goblin or do something in order for him to give this to you so you can start your fishing journey. Again, all of this is just pure speculation at this point, but it definitely gets me excited here for fishing to potentially be coming in this update. Moving forward here, that does bring us to this one right here. Now, this set, as you can see, is obviously clearly a Black Knight, right? Now, this is going to be the enemies we're fighting here, or at least one of the enemies we're going to be fighting in the fortress, right? However, they have confirmed that the Black Knight set is actually going to be the Vestige set for the Mythril gear. Very, very cool. I'm excited for that. I really, really like this Black Knight set, especially with the red glowing accents. I think it's just going to look, mwah, dude, an absolute chef's kiss. It's also worth noting that in Fell Hollow, we had other Vestige sets for the different classes in the game. So, for instance, we do see in this image, or in the trailer and even images dropped previously, there is a, Black Knight style set for the Ranger class, and I would assume with the new mages that we're also going to have for this region, those probably will also be the same sets that those classes will receive for the Vestige as well. And speaking of the Mythril gear here, my video that I posted earlier talking about things that you could prepare and do right now looks to be correct. If we take a look here at this little screenshot, we can see that this is clearly Mythril Ore, and because of that, that definitely confirms that the Mythril Ore along with coal are going to be what you need to craft the Mythril bars, just like it is in old school RuneScape. So once again, if you have not gone and stocked up on some Fell Hollow coal, I would absolutely get to doing that right now before the update does drop tomorrow. Next up here, we have some NPCs. Man, we've got some friendly faces going along us here with the journey, as one would expect. The first one is going to bring the Old Man. Now, obviously, you can't have a region expansion and have any sort of quest line for the story not consider and having the Old Man, all right? So obviously, he's going to be making an appearance here for the area. The second one that we also have confirmed is going to be good old Posty, baby. So again, making a return return here from Fell Hollow. Absolutely love this. This is the mailman, you know, the bodiless skeleton mailman, essentially, that we had to already do some quest from Fell Hollow, where you had to, like, go deliver mail or collect old letters and, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm assuming we're going to have something similar here for this new region as well, just because this person obviously is involved. And we do also see a couple of mailboxes throughout the entire little trailer here as well through the building section. So if we take a look right there, we can see one of the mailboxes. Again, that's directly from the quest and everything that you did with Posty from Fell Hollow. So very cool. You'll love to see that kind of thing. Not only that, on top of that, speaking of the NPCs and friendly faces, that brings us back to this room here, which brings us to Doric. So it looks like we're going to be meeting with the lovely dwarf as well for this one. So he's probably going to have something to do with the storyline. We're going to be working alongside him for this expansion, and that's going to be the 3 NPCs that I have seen so far from this trailer: the Old Man, Doric, and then obviously Posty. And speaking on those other Vestige sets, that's going to be probably what this one is here for the mage class or the magic users out there. This one is probably going to look similar to this. Again, I'm not exactly sure. This is just pure speculation. This might not even be in this update, but that's what I would assume based on what we have seen from when Fell Hollow dropped in the Vestige sets that Death obviously offered there for those stones. And now diving into probably the most overlooked thing for this trailer, and that is simply the region is not just a castle update. I completely thought that the brand new region was going to be encompassed by the entire fortress and there was going to be little to nothing outside of it. Well, from this trailer, it looks like there's actually quite a bit around and outside of the actual castle fortress itself. But again, obviously we don't know how much, and this could be a little bit misleading, but it does look very similar to other regions that we have had, with obviously the castle being present. I absolutely love to see all the RuneScape stuff being added here to the Dowdun Reach update and Dragonwilds. This was the biggest thing that a lot of hardcore RuneScape players talked about when our trip in the UK, that it just didn't feel RuneScape enough, at least for them, right? Especially a lot of the old school players that are very active there. They might like survival games, but it didn't feel like they were playing a RuneScape title, and it looks like the developers are taking that to heart and really bringing it home here with some stuff added for Dowdun, and I would imagine they're going to continue doing that through the entire game and all of the additional expansions and DLCs. With that being said, though, man, that pretty much wraps up all of our reveals here in Hidden Things. I love the mystery and curiosity behind these things that they show in the teaser, but then don't mention anything about it prior to, leading up to it, and even after when it drops. So again, let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on all of this and your theories if you have one. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe here on the channel for more Dragonwilds content. And with that being said, guys, as always, I'll see ya in Dowdun Reach.